Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Munman Bhattacharya, coming up in the next hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with the Prime Minister and President of Poland. Ties elevated to strategic partnership. On Ukraine conflict, Polish PM Donald Tusk says India could play a positive role. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reiterates solutions cannot be found on the battlefield. US President Joe Biden calls Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, stresses on the urgency of a Gaza ceasefire. As Democratic Republic of Congo reports over 1,000 new Mpox cases in a week, Africa urgently seeks vaccines. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Poland as part of his three-day visit to Central Europe, and that's our lead story. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a joint press statement with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. In his address, Prime Minister Modi said that the ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and West Asia are a matter of deep concern, and India firmly believes that no problem can be resolved on the battlefield, while noting that loss of innocent lives in any crisis is the biggest challenge for humanity.
यूक्रेन और पश्चिम एशिया में चल रहे संघर्ष हम सभी के लिए गहरी चिंता का विषय है। भारत का यह दृढ़ विश्वास है कि किसी भी समस्या का समाधान रणभूमि में नहीं हो सकता। किसी भी संकट में मासूम लोगों की जान की हानि पूरी मानवता के लिए सबसे बड़ी चुनौती बन गई है। हम शांति और स्थिरता की जल्द से जल्द बहाली के लिए डायलॉग और डिप्लोमेसी का समर्थन करते हैं।
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the historic ties that India and Poland share. He said that on the 70th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic ties, both nations have decided to transform the relationship into a strategic partnership.
आज हमने संबंधों को एक नई दिशा देने के लिए कई इनिशिएटिव्स की पहचान की है। दो लोकतांत्रिक देशों के रूप में हमारी पार्लियामेंट के बीच आदान प्रदान को बढ़ावा दिया जाना चाहिए। आर्थिक सहयोग को व्यापक रूप प्रदान करने के लिए प्राइवेट सेक्टर को जोड़ने के लिए काम किया जाएगा। फूड प्रोसेसिंग के लिए क्षेत्र में पोलैंड वर्ल्ड लीडर्स में से है। हम चाहते हैं कि पोलैंड की कंपनियां भारत में बनवाए जा रहे मेगा फूड पार्क से जुड़े। भारत में तेज गति से हो रहे शहरीकरण से वाटर ट्रीटमेंट, सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, अर्बन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, ऐसे क्षेत्रों में हमारे सहयोग के नए अवसर खुल रहे हैं।
Addressing the joint press meeting in Warsaw, Poland Prime Minister Donald Tusk said that discussions were held on strengthening cooperation in the area of defense and trade. He added that Poland is ready to take part in India's defense modernization.
Poland is ready to take part in India's defense modernization. We have the necessary technological capability and experts. India is global leader in the field of artificial intelligence, and we are using this technology in several areas, including defense. We express gratitude to you for inviting our companies to your country. We want investment in the field of defense and that we cooperate with each other.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk also said that the entire world praises India because Indian government is very democratic. He added that PM Modi is committed to bringing about a peaceful and just end to the conflict in Ukraine.
Not only on defense but on various issues, our understanding has enhanced. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is committed to further deepen India-Poland relationship. PM Modi is also willing to cooperate with the European Union. I am confident that PM Narendra Modi will play a very crucial role.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome at the Polish Chancellery in Warsaw. Prime Minister Modi held one-on-one bilateral talks with Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk in Warsaw. PM will also lay a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Finally, before leaving for Ukraine, PM Modi will interact with business leaders and Polish influencers. India and Poland also held delegation-level talks after one-on-one bilateral talks between Prime Minister Modi and his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk. Both leaders held discussions on a wide range of issues. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval were present at the talks. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the monument of the Battle of Monte Cassino during his Poland visit and honored the Polish soldiers' bravery in the Second World War. The monument that was unveiled in 1999 commemorates the heroic efforts of the Second Polish Corps and reflects the enduring bond between Poland and its allies.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid a wreath and paid tribute at the monument of the Battle of Monte Cassino in Poland. The monument commemorates the sacrifice and valor of soldiers from Poland, India and other countries who fought alongside each other in the famous Battle of Monte Cassino in Italy during the Second World War. For the Prime Minister, it was a solemn moment to remember the valor of Indian soldiers who fought in World War II. Fought from May 11 to May 18, 1944, the Battle of Monte Cassino was a crucial and intense engagement in World War II. The battle was fiercely contested, with the Allied forces suffering significant losses. The monument features a headless winged Nike emerging from a shattered column, symbolizing victory and resilience. The urn containing the ashes of the Polish heroes is draped with a shroud featuring the cross of Monte Cassino, adding a layer of solemnity and reverence to the memorial. The monument was officially unveiled on May 30, 1999, during the 55th anniversary of the battle. The monument to the Battle of Monte Cassino continues to serve as a poignant reminder of the valor of the Second Polish Corps and the broader Allied effort during World War II. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tributes at a monument dedicated to fallen soldiers in Poland. The monument houses nameless soldiers who defended Lviv from the Bolsheviks in 1920. The tomb of the unknown soldier serves as a symbolic grave for all those who died in war, whose remains have not been found or identified. 3 months after the suppression of the Warsaw Uprising, the palace was blown up on 27 December 1944. Miraculously, only a small section of the arcade survived, which included the tomb of the unknown soldier. On 8 May 1946, the monument was unveiled again. India's PM Narendra Modi met Polish President Andrzej Duda in Warsaw. Delegations of both countries were present at the President's house in Poland. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Polish President Andrzej Duda, along with other leaders, held delegation-level talks where several matters of regional issues were discussed. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met his Polish counterpart in Poland. The minister on social media said that the two leaders discussed the Ukraine conflict, Indo-Pacific situation and bilateral cooperation. The minister also said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit will give a fresh impetus to India-Poland ties. Time for us to take a breather on DD India News Hour. Coming up after that, Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz brands Donald Trump as weird and dangerous at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Russia prevents Ukraine's incursion in the western Bryansk region.
August 2023, India created history by successfully landing Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. To commemorate the feat, August 23rd has been declared as National Space Day.
I see space as a critical infrastructure without which, like roads, waterways and air transport, space is becoming so critical for our security, for national asset mapping and for comfort of life of human beings. We must become a leader to take it the place to go to Moon, Mars and habitat of creation of human beings outside. Who else will do? I believe India will be the leader in doing it.
The World Wildlife Organization tells us that over 3 billion people across the globe rely on seafood. There are efforts being made to preserve our marine ecosystem, so let's dive right in.
The course of the river was getting shrinked in the upstream areas, and when there is no freshwater flow, the river Ichamoti only survives in the downstream areas, and it has become, in our terminology, we call it a tidal inlet.
Habitat.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz has branded Donald Trump as weird and dangerous at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Minnesota governor, who has become a household name, introduced himself to American voters and promised them that Kamala Harris was ready to lead the U.S. with energy, passion and joy. For more updates, Nick Harper. Instead, we are being joined by DD India correspondent Jagrati Dave from Washington, D.C. Jagrati, it is the final day of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Are we now counting down to Harris formally accepting her Democratic nomination?
Yes, we absolutely are. This night is really the night that culminates the whole of the convention, and it's the night that everyone's waiting for, really, to hear what is probably the biggest speech of Kamala Harris's entire career. She is going to be standing in front of Democratic Party delegates, hopefully, if scheduling permits, on prime time, she'll be on the television screens in the homes of millions of Americans as well, making her case, introducing herself in many ways for the first time as the Democratic Party's nominee, presidential nominee, but also making her case for why they should consider her for Commander-in-Chief. It'll be her chance to introduce herself to the nation, talk about her past, her life, her career, her family, her background, and also perhaps put forward some policies. We might be seeing a continuation of the attacks against her rival, Republican nominee Donald Trump, and contrasting herself against him.
Also, Jagrati, over the last few days, has the DNC been able to generate the desired traction for Democrats?
I think there has been a lot of momentum since Joe Biden dropped down. You're hearing it from Democrats on the ground, grassroots campaigners, and you're seeing it, at least on the screens at the Democratic Convention, this palpable sense of enthusiasm generated by Harris's ascent to the top ticket. And there is some reflection of this in some of the polls. You're seeing Kamala Harris taking a lead over Trump. Let's look at a couple. The Economist YouGov poll that was published on Wednesday. Voters were polled over a few days in August, and it shows that Harris has a 3-point advantage over Donald Trump. You've got a Morning Consult poll released on Tuesday that shows Harris leading Trump 48% to 44%, and suggests that she has picked up support from independent voters. And let's take another poll, a Monmouth University poll, that's found Democrat enthusiasm has nearly doubled since Kamala Harris entered the race. So in this sort of honeymoon period, as it were, since Joe Biden dropped out, there is a general definite sense of enthusiasm, and this convention is kind of taking place in that short space since Harris has taken up the position at the top of the ticket. But the question is, can she continue that momentum in the 2.5 months or so until November? And I think that is the crucial point, that yes, she's got momentum now, but many things can change in the road to November.
Oh, absolutely. Also, Jagrati, we've seen the Obamas address the DNC too. Does Michelle Obama still look to be the favorite of a few for, if not this election season, then maybe the next couple of them?
I think what you've seen from this convention is just the sheer love and popularity that that people have for the Obamas. I think they're, as a couple, they're cheered on, but individually, I think Michelle Obama, since Barack Obama left office, she's really grown into her own space. And yes, there was a lot of speculation about perhaps Michelle Obama taking on some official role, perhaps even taking the people wanting her to take on the nomination for president. But I think there's not really been much confirmation or any indication that this is something that she wants to do. But there's a genuine sense that they are really that golden couple, and really a much loved part of the Democratic Party. But I think right now the focus really is on Kamala Harris. The push, their speech was packed with lots of positive references to Kamala Harris, and really their intention was to cheer her on and give her the needed boost to try to push, to continue that momentum that we've been talking about long past the convention.
Jagrati, also are anti-Trump Republicans showing up at the DNC?
You are hearing some Republicans, from some Republicans who are explaining why they should vote for Kamala Harris. I think one Republican made the point that, saying to fellow Republicans, if you vote for Kamala Harris, that doesn't make you a Democrat, that makes you a patriot. And that is an argument that Joe Biden utilized when he was appealing to independents, when he was running for president. And I think it's something that you're going to see Kamala Harris, and that you are seeing Kamala Harris's campaign using to try to encourage independents to vote for her over Donald Trump, for sure.
Then, Jagrati, what's proving to be the undoing of Donald Trump, so to say, from what is evident in the polls?
Well, I think at the moment there's it's momentum. I mean, I think you can't quite frame it as an undoing just yet because, as I said, we have a couple of months until November, and with the lead that Harris is showing. There's obviously accounting for, first of all, a margin of error in polling. So even with that sort of slim lead that Kamala Harris is demonstrating across some swing states and across certain issues, I think you can really see that this race is arguably still neck and neck. It's still a very tight race that can't be called at this point. And also, I think polls should be taken with a pinch of salt. We looked at with caution. I think if you look at the polls for when Joe Biden was running, they overestimated his lead in several swing states where he only managed to clinch them with just the narrowest of margins. So I think looking at the polls, look at them with caution, especially given we've still got more than just over 70 days until the election.
Jagrati Dave reporting from Washington, D.C. US President Joe Biden urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to urgently seal a truce deal in Gaza for release of hostages. Both Israel and Hamas have struck firmly, in fact, to their demands, and the White House in a statement said that Biden pressed Israeli Prime Minister to close the ceasefire and hostage release deal and discussed upcoming talks in Cairo to remove any remaining obstacles. The United States, Israeli, Egyptian and Qatari negotiators are expected to meet in Cairo this weekend. They have for months struggled to bridge differences between Israel and Hamas. The call between Biden and Netanyahu comes after US Secretary of State Antony Blinken made a visit to West Asia. Russia has prevented Ukraine's incursion in the western Bryansk region near Kursk, where advancement began in early August. On Wednesday, Russian security forces repelled the attack by Ukraine in the Klimovo district. Russia shot down 28 drones, and one of the drones caused a fire at a military facility in Russia's southern Volgograd region. No casualties were reported, but temporary aviation restrictions have been imposed in the area. Amid the incursion by Ukraine this month, Russia has begun setting up concrete shelters for civilians in crowded areas. The Democratic Republic of Congo has recorded more than 1,000 new Mpox cases in the last week as the viral disease rages on in the Central African nation. More than 500 people have died and over 16,000 others have contracted the disease since the start of this year. So Mpox has been declared by the WHO as a public health emergency, and Mpox cases have been reported in various parts of the world other than Congo. Reports have emerged in Pakistan, the Philippines, as well as Thailand. For more updates, DD India correspondent Chris Ocham-Ringa joins us from Kinshasa. Chris, there is growing concern worldwide over the Mpox outbreak and its spread. What is Congo, with an overwhelming number of Mpox cases, doing to control the outbreak?
So the government in the Democratic Republic of Congo is intensifying its public awareness campaigns. They're saying it's very critical to educate the masses about the gravity of this disease that is spreading very fast across the country. And they have come up with measures of, carrying out posters across the country, telling people to wash their hands, to keep social distance, and notify health workers of any suspected cases. The DRC is a large country, about more than 100 million people, and there are some communities in the DRC that believe that this disease, Mpox, is linked to witchcraft. And so when their relatives fall sick, they take them to traditional healers and religious leaders instead of health facilities. So the government has made it very clear that winning this battle will depend on the cooperation of the communities where these outbreaks, the diseases, the cases have been reported. And so they are really stepping up that. They're also increasing testing which has been a major challenge, especially in the east of the country where there's a conflict, and they're also treating patients with some medicine that they've got. They're waiting to get vaccines from the United States and Japan. The Minister of Health announced that they're expecting those vaccines next week, and they will start rolling them out across the country.
Chris, what is Congo doing to prevent further spread of Mpox to other countries?
So the government is working very closely with neighboring countries like Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, and others that share a border with the DRC to ensure that they step up the surveillance along the borders. There's a lot of cross-border trade in some of those areas. Some of these borders are very porous. They're just pathways that people use to go to their neighboring countries. So they have stepped up the security around that area. Health workers have been deployed in that area to ensure that people who are living the DRC to neighboring countries are screened, and they have also intensified the measures at the international airports, screening of passengers who are going out of the country to ensure that this disease does not spread out of the country. But there's still a very big challenge because the country does not have enough resources to deal with this outbreak across this country, which is very large. And so they're relying heavily on the support of the international community and agencies, international community and organizations like World Health Organization and the UN.
Chris, also if you could tell us if Congo has been in the receiving end of any travel ban orders from various countries?
No, Congo has not issued any travel ban, has not received any travel ban from any country yet. We know for sure that the World Health Organization has been talking, discouraging countries from travel restrictions. They're saying that will create more problems. They're just urging people to ensure that the health measures are stepped up, screening, testing, and treatment of patients. So we haven't heard of any travel ban, although countries abroad have started putting up some very strict measures for people who are travelers who are coming to the DRC to ensure that they screen them before they enter their country.
Chris, which variant of Mpox is circulating now in Congo? How different is it from the earlier one, and how lethal is it?
So this new strain that is circulating in the DRC is known as Clade 1b. It was discovered in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo earlier this year in a mining town known as Kamituga. That's a densely populated area that shares a border with Burundi. Scientists say that this strain is very contagious and it's deadlier than the one that was reported globally in 2022. And it is a cause for concern because many of the cases that have been reported in the east of the DRC have been linked to that particular strain. And so they are, doubling down on the efforts of trying to educate the people and also treat them to ensure that this strain, which is mainly transmitted sexually, does not spread further.
We'll leave it at that. Chris, reporting from Kinshasa. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet on Thursday held a homecoming ceremony for several centuries-old antiquities looted from the country during war. It was attended by several government officials and US diplomats in Phnom Penh's Peace Palace of Cambodia. After a 6-month closure, the first 8 trucks prepared by the United Nations World Food Programme crossed Adre border to deliver much-needed aid for war-ravaged West Darfur in Sudan. Global monitors say that more than 6 million people face food insecurity across Darfur. The body of British tech entrepreneur Mike Lynch was retrieved from the wreck of a yacht that sank earlier this week off Sicily, Italy. The British-flagged Bayesian, a 56-meter-long super yacht carrying 22 passengers, was anchored off the port of Porticello when it disappeared beneath the waves after a fierce storm struck. To address the sewage discharge, agricultural runoff and excess rainfall, AI-powered sensors are being installed at wild swimming spots and beaches across southern England to mitigate its impact on water quality, posing health risks like gastrointestinal illnesses and skin infections. A mobile app will alert the public of potentially high bacteria levels to protect swimmers. Time for us to take another breather on DD India News Hour. Coming up after that, a spike in cholera cases in war-ravaged Sudan. India's President Draupadi Murmu presents National Science Awards 2024 in New Delhi. Indian government expected to more than double financial disbursements for its production-linked incentive schemes.
This is a story of making of India's space surge and stellar decade of space, scientific feats scripted by India in the history of planetary explorations.
Stories of Indian scientists operating from the very first mission control room in a church and transporting rocket parts by bicycle and bullock carts. This is the stuff that India's legendary space stories are made of.
India is inching closer to the sun. India unraveled the secrets of Mars. India has its national pride placed on the moon.
23rd August 2023, India created history by successfully landing Chandrayaan-3 on the lunar surface. To commemorate the feat, August 23rd has been declared as National Space Day.
I see space as a critical infrastructure without which, like roads, waterways and air transport, space is becoming so critical for our security, for national asset mapping and for comfort of life of human being. We must become a leader to take it the place to go to moon, Mars and habitat of creation of human beings outside. Who else will do? I believe India will be the leader in doing it.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. The humanitarian crisis in Sudan has intensified cholera infections, with the war-stricken country recording almost 600 cases since July. Sudanese Health Ministry said that the country has recorded 593 cases and 28 deaths since announcing the epidemic on the 23rd of July. WHO and UNICEF have cooperated with the Sudanese Health Ministry to spray chlorine and open treatment and isolation centers in locations that are heavily affected by the disease, he added. The country is also suffering from the world's largest hunger crisis, with 25.6 million people living in acute hunger. On to some national stories now. India's President Draupadi Murmu presented Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar or National Science Awards 2024 in Delhi on Thursday. The awards were conferred to the celebrated biochemist Govindarajan Padmanabhan, who was selected for the first Vigyan Ratna Award, the topmost science award in the country, while ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 team was selected for the first Vigyan Team Award. The awards are given in the field of science, technology and innovation to recognize outstanding and inspiring scientific, technological and innovation contributions of researchers, technologists and innovators.
Dr. Pragya Dhruv Yadav of ICMR National Institute.
Food inflation in India is expected to fall in the coming months as plentiful monsoon rains have replenished water levels in reservoirs, Finance Ministry's Department of Economic Affairs said in its monthly economic review on Thursday. As per latest data, retail inflation in India came down to 3.5% in July 2024. That's the lowest since September 2019. The report highlighted that the steady progress in the southwest monsoon has helped Kharif sowing. GST collections in the first 4 months of FY25 have surged due to a widened tax base and increased economic activity. This growth is reinforced by a double-digit rise in e-way bill generation, indicating sustained economic momentum. Manufacturing and services sectors have also shown strong performance driven by robust demand and expanding capacity utilization. In July 2024, e-way bill generation signaled a rise in economic activity. The report noted the Indian stock market witnessed another bullish run as both Nifty 50 and BSE Sensex 30 indices soared to new heights. The Indian government may increase disbursements under the production-linked incentive scheme to nearly 15,000 crore rupees for the financial year 2025. That is double of the 6,800 crore rupees in the year 2024. The end of May showed combined investments under the PLI schemes having hit 1.3 trillion rupees or about $15 billion US. Covering 14 sectors, the PLI scheme was launched in 2021. Large-scale electronics manufacturing sector, mainly mobile manufacturers, will account for 41% of the total disbursals. 4 sectors, automobiles and auto components, advanced chemistry cells, textile products and specialty steel will receive incentives for the first time this year. Meanwhile, there is no let-up in the flood situation in the northeastern Indian state of Tripura due to continuous rainfall, with the Met Office forecasting an alert for extremely heavy rainfall for today. The state machinery is on its toes to mitigate the impact and provide relief to the people. Major rivers like Gomti and Muhuri are flowing above the danger level and have destroyed hectares of cropping fields. Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha conducted an on-ground assessment of the flood-affected areas in Agartala and visited shelter houses to take stock of the situation and ensure timely support to those in need. India's Home Minister Amit Shah spoke to the Chief Minister of the northeastern Indian state of Tripura, Dr. Saha, and took stock of the flood situation. Amit Shah said the centre is rushing teams of NDRF apart from boats and helicopters to the state to assist the local government in relief and rescue operations. Shah added the government stands firmly with Tripura during this hour of crisis. India's Ministry of External Affairs has rejected Bangladesh's concern on the current flood situation caused by opening of the Dumbur Dam upstream of the Gomti River in northeastern state of Tripura. The area alongside the river has witnessed heavy rainfall in the past few days, calling the information factually incorrect. Floods have caused power outage leading to problems of communication on both sides of Tripura and adjoining districts of Bangladesh. India remains committed to resolving issues and mutual concerns in water resources and river water management through bilateral consultations and technical discussions. Nepal's weather department has predicted light to moderate rain with thunder showers and lightning in some places. The Met Office has called upon people to take precautions. Yesterday, a landslide disrupted vehicular traffic around the Nagdunga area of Chandragiri in Kathmandu Valley. Meanwhile, the Karnali highway was blocked due to landslides and incessant rainfall in Smod and Hulma in Kalikot district. Work is underway to open the roads blocked due to floods and landslides. A look now at some other stories making news. The first National Space Day 2024 is being celebrated across the country tomorrow, that is on Friday. On this day, last year, Chandrayaan-3 mission accomplished the soft landing of Vikram lander on the lunar surface. The theme for this year's celebration is Touching Lives While Touching the Moon, India's space saga. A meeting of general observers, police observers and expenditure observers for Jammu Kashmir and Haryana Assembly polls was held in New Delhi on Thursday. Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar asked the observers to be in the field for the candidates and political parties. He also said that the election in both states will be held in a fair and impartial manner. International news now. In Bangladesh, the Mohammad Yunus interim government is taking steps to publish a white paper on the current economic situation. The Chief Advisor's Office announced on Wednesday that a committee led by economist Devapriya Bhattacharya has been formed to prepare the white paper. The committee will publish the white paper within 90 days after taking charge. A document from the office states that the proposed white paper will reflect the overall picture of the current economy, including public finance, inflation and food management. Also, the white paper will focus on the country's external balance, export, import, remittances, foreign direct investment, foreign exchange reserves, foreign finance flow and debt status. Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh Pranay Verma paid his introductory call on the Chief Advisor to the Bangladesh government, Professor Mohammad Yunus, on Thursday. The High Commissioner reiterated India's commitment to working with Bangladesh to fulfill shared aspirations of the peoples of India and Bangladesh for peace, security and development. Time for another breather on DD India News Hour. Coming up after that, India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra in action for the first time after the Paris Olympics. Globally famed soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo breaks the internet by launching his YouTube channel. A special school dedicated to empowering children with intellectual disabilities.
The World Wildlife Organization tells us that over 3 billion people across the globe rely on seafood. There are efforts being made to preserve our marine ecosystem. So let's dive right in.
The course of the river was getting shrunk in the upstream areas. And when there is no freshwater flow, the river Ichamoti only survives in the downstream areas, and it has become, in our terminology, we call it a tidal inlet.
Habitat from so many places in the world, and people didn't even know that it had happened.
Mussels that live at the bottom of the lake have this large effect on the biology of the entire lake.
This is the poster that we provide to people on our fish walks. So they can just look at this and identify which are the fish in season, and when we give them the test to go out and identify sustainable fish.
It's worrying because rising temperatures cause the water to expand, and with it, the sea level to rise.
of making of India's space surge and stellar decade of space, scientific feats scripted by India in the history of planetary explorations.
Stories of Indian scientists operating from the very first mission control room in a church and transporting rocket parts by bicycle and bullock carts. This is the stuff that India's legendary space stories are made of.
India is inching closer to the sun. India unraveled the secrets of Mars. India has its national pride placed on the moon.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Munmun Bhattacharya. Time now for all the sports action. Sparsh Special School is dedicated to empowering children with intellectual disabilities. This school offers specialized programs including creative projects, academic classes, speech and occupational therapy. These initiatives aim to make children self-reliant. The school also aspires to develop them into international athletes, promoting their inclusion in mainstream society. An exclusive report by DD India correspondent Narayan Singh.
Sparsh Special School under the aegis of Special Olympics Bharat Uttar Pradesh is making a big difference in the lives of children with intellectual disabilities. The school offers programs tailored to the needs to each child. One of the key activities at the school is creating beautiful items from waste materials. This activity helps the children express their creativity and gain a sense of achievement. The school also has a special academic curriculum designed for these children, helping them learn at their own pace.
जो बच्चे हमारे स्पोर्ट्स में खेलने के लिए जा रहे हैं, हाइपर एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं या फोकस नहीं हो रहे हैं, उनकी हम प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग करें, उनकी स्पीच थेरेपीज़ कराएं, उनकी ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपीज़ कराएं, उनकी बिहेवियर थेरेपीज़ कराएं और उनको साथ में और एक्टिविटीज़ में इन्वॉल्व करें ताकि बच्चे अपना स्पोर्ट्स में भी बेस्ट कर सकें, अपने एजुकेशन में बेस्ट कर सकें।
यहाँ पढ़ाई करता हूँ और बॉल खेलता हूँ और सर के साथ अच्छा लगता है।
मैं पढ़ाई करता हूँ और मैं फुटबॉल खेलता हूँ और मैं वॉची भी खेलता हूँ और मैं पढ़ता भी हूँ। स्पेशल ओलंपिक अच्छा लगता है।
Speech therapy is available to improve communication skills. Hyperactive children benefit from occupational therapy, which helps them focus better. The school also provides classes in activities of daily living and teaching essential life skills. These efforts have led to significant improvements in the children's abilities.
हमारे बच्चे तब से यहाँ पर आया है तो काफ़ी कुछ लिखने भी लगा है और बोलने भी लगा है, काफ़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट है। आगे हमारा बच्चा बढ़ सकता है यहाँ पे आने से। स्पोर्ट्स में भी हमारा बच्चा आगे बढ़ जाएगा। यहाँ से स्कूल से थेरेपी वगैरह भी कराई जाती है बच्चे को।
यहाँ पर ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी कराई जाती है। बच्चों के बिहेवियर कंट्रोल के लिए हम लोग वर्क करते हैं ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपी के थ्रू। स्पीच थेरेपी कराई जाती है बच्चों को बोलना सिखाने के लिए, जो बच्चे बोल सकते हैं और उन्हें पता नहीं है कि हम लोग कैसे बोलेंगे। हम लोग यहाँ वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग कराते हैं। हम बच्चों को सेल्फ डिपेंड बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं, सेल्फ अर्निंग की कोशिश करते हैं कि बच्चा कुछ सीखेगा और जब वो सामान सेल होगा तो वो बच्चा आत्मनिर्भर बन सकता है। हम लोग स्पोर्ट्स में काम करते हैं स्पेशल ओलंपिक भारत के लिए।
जो भी टीचर या कोच जो भी स्पेशल ओलंपिक में इन्वॉल्व होते हैं वो इन्वॉल्व हों तो एक तरीके से इन्वॉल्व हों, ट्रेनिंग लेके इन्वॉल्व हों, जिससे कि बच्चों को शिक्षण प्रशिक्षण अच्छे से दे सकें और वो बच्चे स्पेशल ओलंपिक में जाएं तो एक नाम रोशन करके आएं।
The main goal of the Sparsh Special School is to make these children self-reliant. The school aims to help them earn a living and lead a dignified life. Sparsh also has a dream of turning these children into international athletes. The school is also working towards their inclusion in mainstream society through sports. By doing so, Sparsh not only empowers these children but also promotes a spirit of acceptance and inclusion within the broader community. Narayan Singh's report, DD India, Ghaziabad.
India's star javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra will be in action at the Lausanne Diamond League late on Thursday night. The event features a strong field including Paris Olympics bronze medalist Anderson Peters. Though Olympic champion Arshad Nadeem will skip the event. The Lausanne Diamond League meet will be the 5th competition of the season for Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj won silver at the Paris 2024 Olympics with a throw of 89.45 meters and is currently 4th in the Diamond League standings. He needs a top 6 finish in Lausanne to qualify for the Diamond League final in Brussels next month. His main competition includes Jakub Vladičić of Czechia and Julian Weber of Germany. Portuguese footballer Cristiano Ronaldo broke the world record after hitting the fastest 1 million YouTube subscribers on Thursday. The football star launched his channel on Wednesday, quickly amassing hundreds of thousands of subscribers within hours. The 39-year-old and 5-time Ballon d'Or winner announced on social media that the wait is over, the channel is here, subscribe and join the journey. Just a couple of hours later, after his first video went live, 1.69 million subscribers had already joined his channel. Ronaldo, who has 112.5 million followers on the X platform and 636 million on Instagram, is set to take over YouTube next. In cricket, Afghanistan Cricket Board appointed former Indian fielding coach Ramakrishnan Sridhar as the assistant coach for their national team on Wednesday. Ramakrishnan will coach the team for the upcoming fixtures against New Zealand and South Africa. The board expressed hopes that Sridhar will effectively fulfill his role and is looking forward to a potential long-term contract in future. Sridhar, who worked as India's fielding coach under the leadership of former head coach Ravi Shastri, is expected to bring extensive coaching experience to the table. Chelsea completes the signing of Portugal forward João Felix from Atletico Madrid, while England midfielder Conor Gallagher moves in the opposite direction. The 24-year-old Felix, who has signed a 7-year deal with the club, scored 4 goals in 20 appearances during his 6-month loan spell in West London in 2023. Felix expressed his excitement and said that he is really happy to be back and can't wait to get started. Meanwhile, Gallagher, who has signed a 5-year contract with the Spanish club, scored 10 goals in his 90 appearances for Chelsea. Gallagher had entered the last year of his contract at Stamford Bridge, hence Chelsea decided to sell now instead of losing him on a free transfer next summer. The England and Wales Cricket Board has announced on Thursday that England will play a men's test match against Zimbabwe next year after a gap of more than 2 decades. The England's first test against Zimbabwe since 2003 will take place in May 2025. The Zimbabwe match will be followed by 5 tests against India starting June 2025. The 5th test against India, scheduled to end on 4th August, is the last test England will play before it bids to regain the Ashes in a 2025-26 series in Australia. That's all in this edition of DD India News Hour, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Manu Bhattacharya. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.